Hello guys, good day. I am Richard Todyumarpa from the Bachelor of Science in Criminology, Section 1G. Now for this video, I'm going to discuss or share to you the different topics from the book Torrentera and the Philippine History Sourcebook. So now, we will talking about the Act of Declaration of the Philippine Independence. The Act of Declaration of the Philippine Independence is a historic document signed on June 12, 1898, led by our very own General Emilio Aguinaldo. The document declared that the Philippines as a sovereign nation and marked the end of 333rd year of Spanish colonial rule. The declaration was made in Kawit, Cavite, and was culmination of the Philippine Revolution against the Spain. The Act of Declaration of the Philippine Independence is celebrated annually as a national holiday in the Philippines. And now, we proceed to the 1899 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, and also known as the Malolos Constitution. Malolos Constitution was the fundamental law of the First Philippine Republic. It was drafted and ratified by the Malolos Congress, which convened in September 1898 in Malolos, Bulacan. The Constitution established a presidential representative democratic republic with a separation of powers among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government. It also enshrined several civil liberties and human rights, including freedom of speech, religion, and the press. Next is the Treaty of Peace between the United States of America and the Kingdom of Spain, and it was signed on December 10, 1898. And marked the end of the Spanish-American War. The treaty recognized as Cuba as an independent country, ceded with Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines under to the United States, and set as payment of $20 million from the United States to Spain for the Philippines. The treaty led to the expansion of American territory and power and sparked debates about imperialism and Americans' rule as a global power. It also had a significant impact on the relationship between the United States of America and Spain, shaping their diplomatic and economic ties for years to come. And now, let's proceed to the Jose Rizal Retraction Controversy. The Jose Rizal Retraction Controversy refers to the debate over the authenticity and significance of the document known as the Retraction, which is purported to be a retraction of Rizal's anti-Catholic beliefs and statement of his acceptance of the Catholic faith. The controversy centers whether Rizal actually wrote the document or whether it was forged, and whether its contents represent a true change of heart or were coerced by his captors. The retraction was allegedly signed by Rizal on December 29, 1898, the day before he was executed by the Spanish colonial authorities for his involvement in the Philippine Revolution. However, many scholars and historians argue that the document was forgery and Rizal never actually recanted his beliefs. Proponents of the authenticity of the retraction argued that Rizal, who had long been critical of the Catholic Church and Spanish colonial rule, may have had a change of heart in his final moments, and that the document represents his sincere beliefs. However, others point out that the document is written in a different style and handwriting than Rizal's other writing, and that it's contradictory to his previously expressed views. The controversy is significant because Rizal is revered as a national hero in the Philippines, and the retraction has been used by some to argue that he was not an enemy of the Catholic Church, but rather a devoted believer. However, others argue that the retraction of Rizal, even if it is genuine or not, should not diminish Rizal's contribution to the fight for Philippine independence and his legacy as a champion of freedom and human rights. And now, let's talk about the convention between the United States and the Great Britain. It refers to a series of treaties signed between the two countries during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. This agreement primarily dealt with issues related to trade, commerce, and navigation between the two nations. The most well-known of this convention was the Jay Treaty, signed in 1794, which helped to resolve some of the lingering tensions between the United States and Great Britain. Following the American Revolution, this convention between the United States and Great Britain played a significant role in shaping the early relationship between the two big nations. Now, let's move to the President Emilio Aguinaldo's declaration of war on the United States in 1898. President Emilio Aguinaldo of the Philippines declared war on the United States. This came after the US refused to recognize the Philippines' independence from the Spain and instead annexed it as a territory of United States. Aguinaldo believed that the Philippines should be a sovereign nation and saw the US presence as an invasion. The resulting conflict, known as the Philippine-American War, lasted for 3 years and resulted in significant casualties on both sides. And next is excerpt from the Diary of Carrie Chapman. The excerpt is from the Diary of Carrie Chapman Catt, a prominent American women's suffrage leader and a peace activist. It is likely written during the early 90s, as Catt was heavily involved in the women's suffrage movement at that time. In the diary entry, Catt expressed her frustration with the slow progress of the suffrage movement, noting that they have been fighting for the right to vote for over 50 years. She also acknowledged the hard work and dedication of her fellow suffragists, but laments that they still have a long way to go. So now, let's proceed to the Commonwealth Act No. 444, or also known as the 8th-hour labor law. It was a law passed in the Philippines in 1937, which mandated that all private sector's employees should not work more than 8 hours per day or 48 hours per week, except in cases of emergency or special circumstances, while also providing for the payment of overtime at 1.5 time that regulates rate. It aimed to protect the welfare of workers and promote economic growth by ensuring a stable workforce, and has a sense of influence from the Philippines' labor policies and practices. And now, let's move on to Bataan Has Fallen. So, it refers to the surrender of the combined American and Filipino forces to the Japanese on April 9, 1942, during World War II. After 3 months-long battle that resulted in significant casualties on both sides, the fall of Bataan led to the infamous Bataan Death March, where the Japanese forced the prisoners of war to march 65 miles to a prison camp, resulting in many deaths. This event marked a significant blow to the Allied forces of the Pacific and began a long and brutal Japanese occupation of the Philippines. However, the resistance movement continued throughout the war, and then eventually liberation of the Philippines by American forces in 1945 helped bring an end to this conflict. And now, let's move on to the last topic, and it's all about Mindanao history in a nutshell. Mindanao is the second largest island in the Philippines, located in the southern region of the country. It is known for its rich cultural diversity, with over 40 ethnic groups calling it as a home. The island is abundant in natural resources, including fertile agricultural land, vast mineral deposits, and lush forests. However, it has also experienced ongoing conflict, particularly in form of insurgency and terrorism. Despite these challenges, Mindanao remains an important contribution to the Philippine economy and a fascinating destination for travelers seeking for adventures and cultural immersion. And that will be all, guys, and I hope you learned something. Thank you.